Thank you for having me here. As you heard, there is voting going on, so if you just search for this get-paid, there is a talk about it. So if you want to support it, you can also vote. So today I want to talk about django-getpaid, which is payment processing, which I wrote because I thought that there's no suitable payment processing yet there, and there are many. So. What I had a problem to solve, or what was the kind of problems I thought about. I would like to have just a great payment processing. So I would like to have something that's very generic, so I could just plug it into every application I had, and also lightweight, that I don't need to install some very serious code that is hard to maintenance. So this was the first thing, it was very important. And second thing is, I don't want the payment processing that is tightly connected with some one system, like for example in Polish we've got PayU, transfer, .pay, and so on, eBay, sorry not eBay, PayPal, and so on. So I don't want just one of them. I would like to have the option of having all of them if I want, or switching easily. So this was the second thing, just to hide this API with my own. Third thing was, with my experience was, there are sometimes some problems with one payment provider. For example, their service go down for a week. Yeah, it was like that. And then I had a problem that I was not able to accept payments in my app, because I've got this only one payment processing. So now I would like to have few of them, and even if one is down, I can use any other at the same time. So this was one of the motivations. And yeah, sure, production ready is cool, because I would like to use it right now. And also I thought about having applications for many countries that are localized, maybe with multiple currencies. So I was having also this in mind, that to support this. So first thing I thought is to, there must be something that answers these problems, and it wasn't. At least I didn't find it. So here are some clues that I checked, and there are something like a part of big e-commerce softwares, and so on and so on. There are some dedicated, like a django-PayPal, that is only for for PayPal. So I wasn't also interested in that. And things that this one, Mamona, it was a little app written by some guy in Poland, and it was kind of good, but the architecture was not what I was expecting. There are some major flaws, and I thought, okay, I decided just to do this code from the scratch, but have it mainly using Mamona code as some starting point. So where are we now with the project? And so I have a code version which starts with 1, so it's should tell you that it's production ready, because it is used in production and it's working. We have a very good documentation, but it's very detailed. So I've even thought about not making this presentation, but showing you the part of the documentation as a presentation, because basically there's everything there. So just a few days ago, we even have some Brazilian contributor that put the MOIP backend there, and there are these main Polish backends already there. I would like to do some work in PayPal, because it's important.
We got it already.
Sorry?
We got it already.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can contribute. It will be welcome.
Did you access?
It's incompatible with the current version. We must do some improvements and
Some upgrades.
Okay, so I will show some things how to integrate. So okay. So yeah, I already used in production, and I wrote to the transfer and to the .pay that there is some solution. They kindly put it as a link to the official support for Django for their software. So I'm listed on those both places. So I think it's nice. So how to get it? So there is a PyPy, but I still recommend GitHub and downloading the latest code because there are some features that we are adding constantly. And the documentation, which I said is very detailed, is also on the read the docs. So when I first thought about how to make a very simple Django app, I thought it would be very easy to integrate, but it isn't, because there are some things that need to be done because of this third-party backend that requires many things. So it cannot be just as simple as put something into install app. So there are a few steps that we must discuss about integration. So first thing, just add the install apps. And what then? So getpaid requires you to define getpaid backends, which are the full Python paths for the backend. So here you can plug any backend, not only from the getpaid itself, but you can write your appropriate backend as a third-party provider and put it here. And then each of this backend is also a standalone Django app, so you need to put it also here into the installed apps. This is a good idiom to do that because it will be consistent, and you won't forget about if you put something that way. Okay. There are some settings that are custom for each backend, because each backend has, for example, Payu has some two keys, some out key, some ID, and .pay has another one, and so on and so on. So basically, it's like a dictionary with the key of the full Python path, and there's some properties that are well described in the documentation. You can find exactly what can be set for each bucket. Then you need to include URLs, what is also obvious and what's nice. getpaid will discover all backends that are connected, and will include their URLs also here. So this is only one line you need to put, and that's all. And okay, so we are now at the point that we need to set some order model. So I want to stop here for a minute and tell about one very nice property of django-getpaid, that it doesn't make any assumption about your code. So everything is wrote in that way that the only thing that you need to have is to have any kind of order model that it doesn't need to be named order as well. So just any kind of order model, Django model, and that's it. So if you have any of this, you can register it to this getpaid here, with some equipment. And what we do is to make dynamically generated model of payment that have a true foreign key. So no, how is it called in Django? Contrib? Content types, sorry. Content types and so on. This fancy ways to attach, to link with any kind of model. Here you will have in database a really true foreign key, which was for me a very good way to do this. So here you can have anything you want. You can have a field of total, or you can have some other class with order positions, and the total will be calculated on the fly or not. This doesn't matter. You can have it all you want. You can have here. Another thing, what you can actually define, because it's standard in Django, you can have Unicode name that will help getpaid to make some reasonable names, and absolute URL also Django will use it if it will be defined. So these are two things only that, but there are standards, so it's good. Okay, and the problem was, if I've made an assumption that nothing is really required about this order model, so how to know what is the total order and currency of this order? So whenever GetPaid starts to processing some payment, new payment for an order, it will fire up a signal called new payment query, and it will ask just to put in this payment dictionary these values, and you can do it in the way you want. So here is a very trivial implementation where you just are assigning these fields that are already there, but here you can also put some great logic that will count all your items in the order and evaluate the total order or make any other thing. So here is the place that gives you the ability just to have any kind of order you want. And this is extremely important, not because you can write your code by yourself, but if you want to integrate GetPaid with any kind of third-party application that you don't have an access to the code or you don't want to have an access to the code. So just you can take some other third-party application and plug it in, and it will be working. And also the second thing, which is important, so how to notify that the payment actually have been processed and it's successful or failed. So there is a second signal called payment status change, and it will have two arguments, old status and new status, and you can just check. So here is one way to do it. Because the status can change in even if the order is paid, status also can be changed for paid for some reasons. So we need to check that old status was not paid and new status is paid, and then we can do anything. So if your code requires to just to change your order status to something, yeah, you can do it. If you want to fire up some other signals or other methods, you can do it here and just implement this little handler for the signal, and that's all.
So instance in this part is payment object, right?
Instance is payment, yeah, because payment have order as a foreign key. Yeah, and there's the last thing that you need to do, because somewhere in your application, in your web, you need to have this big green button Pay. Yeah? So where we put it? So django-getpaid gives you something called payment method form, and this payment method form is you need to give it an attribute of object of currency, because it will create dynamically form that have only those payment methods that support this currency. Because as I said, all django-getpaid have in mind different currencies, and you can have a backend that are processing only some kinds of currencies. For example, in Polish in PayU you can pay only in Polish zloty, and for example in .pay you can pay in euro and in Polish zloty, and I think some few other currencies. So there are some differences, and you can use it here. So it will automatically generate the form that for the given currency have only those methods that are available. Second thing, you have some order here that is your code, because it's not GetPaid code. You have some order view, so only what you want to do is to define this context variable, which will store your form, and then just put it in the template, linking action to this URL that GetPaid will expose for you. So it's GetPaid new payment. And basically that's it. If you have if you have if you put it, okay, I will show you maybe. Okay, maybe this is the right moment just to make a presentation of working GetPaid. So here's an example project that you can get from GitHub, and first thing, it's really a little bit tricky just to use it from localhost because of some architecture details that I will cover later in the presentation. So I will just show you some only some few steps of the payment process. So here we have a very simple application. You can define your order here, just putting a name here, the value of the amount of money you want to be charged, and the currency. For example, let's start with PLN. Okay. So here's my order view, and application is I can show you the code of settings. Okay, here are some. So here are the GetPaid backends. Okay, and all of them are active. There's dummy backend, of course, active because PLN is accepted by all of those. So I can show you, for example, how it looks in .pay. So okay, so we connected. We can. I have some test account there. Actually, I will not make this payment right now because it requires to have some external IP to to have the notification back. So here on the localhost, so I didn't do it, but I can. Okay, so refreshing, we've got a payment that is in progress on this backend created. It's not paid. Amount paid is also 0. Now I can have dummy backend, so I can authorize or not this payment. Okay, let's authorize it. So okay, I've paid this this order. So you can see that you can match the order with the payment easily. It's which backend did this. Also in the new version, which is on GitHub, you can have some additional IDs and so on from this backend. So, for example, if you have payment in .pay, you will also have an identifier of payment from the .pay that you can have from .pay that you can easily find it there. Which one is which? So this view just discovers if order is paid or not. So it don't show you here the payment form anymore because the order is already paid. So that's very simple. Okay, let's just create another order. Okay, now order in euro. Yeah, and here, because only .pay accepts euro and the dummy, you can see that this same code generates other kind of list of payments options. So it's working exactly the same. That I don't know. Are there any questions at this moment? Just to show you.
How do you check which currencies are supported? Do you ask .pay's API or
no? It is defined.
So what if I don't know .pay drops?
No, it is defined in documentation, so you can read. It's supported officially, and it's not dynamic. So it's basically it's here. It's just hard-coded in the code. Okay. So here you have a .pay which supports those currencies, and that's standard. Okay. So we can close it. Okay, so just to have you an idea how the GetPaid backend is designed, I would like to show you this slide. So payment backends are the Django apps, as I said, and they should have an importable payment processor class, which I put as you've seen in the init file of the model. And this payment processor class, it should of course it should provide get-gateway URL, which is the method that will redirect you by the get or by the post method to the payment backend, this payment third-party backend. And also what I showed you is backend accepted currency, which is the list of these all currencies. And what also can backend have? It can introduce its own views. Why? Because, for example, all of the payment backends, as I know, requires some extra view just to send a status notification. The most complicated I've encouraged is PayU, because it sends you. Okay, I will tell you on the next slide, because there is a diagram of that. So okay, let's move on. So also what's nice, backends can have its own models, and they also can be dynamically created, because there is a method function build model where you have a payment class, and you can build this model dynamically that has also correlating keys to the payment model itself. So everything can be really dynamically created, and it's designed this way. And also backends can give you some management scripts that help you to configure each of the payment broker itself. So I also will show you how, in the example, how it looks like. So, if you're using PayU, you need to define in each, they call it point of sale, POS, some links to the success URL, where to redirect after a successful payment, a failure URL, and also this online URL means that they will send you notifications about payment changes. So to make it easy, because it's not obvious what kind of URL you will have in your Django application, because it will depend on where you put it in your URL structure, and so on and so on. There is a management script that just prints all of this information, and you can just copy and paste it to this, and tells you exactly where to put it on the page. Okay, and yeah. So now, how all the process workflow goes. So first of all, we've got this order view. So I will use this one. Okay. We've got the order view. As I show you, there is the place where we put in the template the payment form. So when we click on the pay button, we are just firing the GetPaid new payment view, which is internal for GetPaid, and it does all the stuff of the logic of making, preparing all these parameters for the external payment broker system, which requires some signing, MD5, SHA1, and all the stuff. And it asks for that the payment processor, the one that was chosen, and this method get-gateway. So this is why it's so important to implement it. So if it knows what kind of URL you need to redirect via get or post, it will redirect you. Both of those methods are supported. And then, there is a payment broker system that do all the stuff, and basically what they done, first thing is to redirect the request to this view with failure or success, and second thing, somewhere in behind, they will fire you the online view or something like, view that will accept notifications about payment. And this thing is very custom for all payment processor, because it depends on how the payment broker is defined. So this is not in all of these implementations that are now available. Those are very custom and are different. But there are some generic success view and failure view in payment processor, which are only redirect you back to the fallback view of getpaid itself, because it's done like that because if you have some very custom payment processor, maybe you would like to hook here some code to make some other things on success or on failure view. So it's going through the payment processor, then to the getpaid, and the getpaid has some default logic what to do on the payment fallback, and actually it uses get absolute URL of order just to return to the order view, because there is nothing better to do in this case. But of course you can hook the code here using some variables of settings in Django, just to put here some custom URLs where to go after. So it's only default. So what actually, because I was telling you that the PayU is very complicated, so actually what PayU is, how PayU differs from that diagram. So yeah, they fired this online view, but this online view doesn't tell you what's changed. It only tells you that the payment is changed, and what you need to do is then fire another thing, which is asynchronous in the best way, to the payment broker, just to, you need to ask them what's changed. So after, behind the PayU backend, there is a hidden Django celery with all that stuff to run this, because it was not a very good idea to make it synchronously on this request. So yeah, there is more complicated like this. .pay and transfer is simpler than that. It's only, you only accept this request, and you know what's happening with payment. In my opinion, PayU is a little overcomplicated, but it's okay. So how those dynamic payment model generation is done? There is a payment factory, and it just after you register the code, the order model with the payment factory, it will create the payment model, and as I said, it's just a forwarding key, which is nice for database and which is not nice for Django, because all of dynamically generated models, they are troublemakers. For example, you have no easy possibility to use self-migrations, because your model is somehow very custom to your code. It's not generic anymore. And you will have some maybe importing issues that you need to maybe import on runtime, and so on and so on. So, but those problems are easy to solve, and I'll show you some later. And what are the status of payments? So in the django-getpaid, I've just put those 5, and basically I think that there are not no other one are important, because the backends can have very big set of statuses, that something is waiting, not waiting, almost waiting, and so on. So you will find plenty of statuses in different implementations of payment backends, payment third-party backends. But from our perspective, only you want to know if it's paid or it's not paid. Maybe you need to know somehow that somebody paid not fully amount, because some of payment processing allow to pay custom value, not predefined. So it's not nice. So you need to be able to know that, and you need to know it's the payment was started and it's in progress. That's really all. So you can map all of those other just to this 5. So the problem with Solve and using Solve, because using Solve is good, as we know, is how to deal with such kind of dynamically generated models. So it's a very simple answer. If you look to the documentation of Solve, because there is a settings variable called self-migrations model, and you can override the default place where Salt is looking for your migrations to your project. So basically what I want to say is you can keep the migrations of this application with your model, as if it would be just your application, written by you. So and that's all. It solves all the problems. It only don't solve the problem if django-getpaid will change in somehow that they need to have some data migrations, because it's they cannot be given in generic mode. So you will always need to write those migrations by yourself or generate it in your code. But it's solved, I think. And there are also some tricky things that you can encounter when you are using this application. So, for example, again, overcomplicated PayU has some requirements that you need to send the IP of the client that is connecting to you for them, just to be double sure that this is the client that you are redirected. So, if you have your Django, and we probably have behind some web servers the proxy, so you have something like localhost IP when you're supposed to have a real IP. So this is a simple answer. Just use X forwarded for header in HTTP connections. Just don't forget to set it on the web server, and put some middleware for doing that. So for rewriting meta remote editor. So that will solve your problem. And the second tricky thing that we encounter is if you're using HTTPS with so SSL basically, and after the payment is made, there is redirection, and this redirection is related in the Django. The things in GetPaid. And what the Django makes with related redirects is to of course, somehow changing it to the full path. So with HTTP or HTTPS before everything. So how it's guessing about it? So it has limited options. And if your Django is if the Django is behind some web server again on proxy, there is no way to figure out what kind of connection was. So according to Django documentation, this is the answer. You need to set X forwarded proto always when you have HTTPS. Always if you don't have, just remove it because it's a security issue. And then you can define this settings variable, and which will help Django to figure it out using this header and that value, that this is an HTTPS connection, and then your redirects will be okay. So yeah, that's all I think. So if you want to join and contribute to the GetPaid, you are very welcome, and just do it by GitHub. We love GitHub, so and fork me, pull me, yeah. Okay, thank you.
There's a new wave of payment processor gateways, mainly, represented mainly by Stripe and Braintree. Have you checked out those two?
No, I couldn't.
So this is really not a question, because if you haven't, then nothing really you can do. But I highly recommend you to check it out, check them out, and see whether they fit with the workflow of GetPaid.
Okay.
They use it. They are majorly simpler than .pay and PayU and Transferly, because they require you to put a form on your web page that just submits to their server, not, they're missing the intermediary step of your server taking the order. You just send it there, and they get back to you. So that's pretty different from the older ones. So I recommend you to check them out.
Okay.
Stripe and Braintree.
Yeah, thanks.
And PayMill, which is like there's a bunch of people who made a clone of Stripe basically, but the nice thing about PayMill is that apparently it works in Poland. And if you look at the API documentation, what they basically did is they copied Stripe's API documentation, they went to a bunch of programmers, and they say, hey, make this work. So it's basically like there are apparently people who have literally gotten PayMill working by basically just changing a bunch of hard-coded URLs in a Stripe, for a Stripe integration thing, and it just works. And the nice thing is that I think you can use it in Poland, whereas Stripe you need to be either
US or
in
Canada.
US and Canada, I think. And you can like pay in pretty much any currency.
Yeah, but Braintree is actually EU enabled, so you can use, and it's pretty similar to Stripe. So, but it's nice to see that someone is actually copying the Stripe API.
API or not copyright.
Right? As we learned just recently. Right. Cool.
Also, if one backend fails, you said that django-getpaid supports this situation.
It depends how it fails. If it fails like 500, so the user will see after the redirect some error. Yeah, that's obvious. But if it's failing in the other way, so you will just be redirected back via the fallback view to some error message that this payment was failed. Yeah, and you will see again the order model or order page where you have all the payment methods available, and you can choose others. And actually, I've got something like that on production for a while, and I saw on the mix panel that the client just return and clicking all the payment methods it was working. So yeah, that was a great success for me, comparing to having only one payment method.